thrill for it.
Presenting Franks with Turbo Booster Jet Engine.
Nexa.
That is some serious levelling up in the last 2 overs from Suryakumar Yadav and Namandir. 48 runs of the last 2 that take MI to 180. For all money, we thought that game is going to finish, or that innings is going to finish closer to 150 or 160. So how do those 2 overs affect where this game stands? Virtual playoff that it is in this year's IPL. On Nexa presents ESPN Cricket for Time Out. We find out in the company of Dustin, Varun and Tom Moody. Have those 2 overs changed who's in front at half-time? Tom?
Absolutely. Without a doubt. That was quite a remarkable finish, which can happen at that venue. But given the way the surface played in that first 18 overs, we didn't see it coming.
More runs in the last 2 than in 5 overs before that. What happened?
Fizz didn't happen. I would say poor captaincy, because you should have left Fizz for at least the last 2 overs on this wicket, because it would have been very difficult to hit those shots against him. Somebody who can get a lot of turn off the wicket, he puts a lot of revs on the ball. I feel just too many Yorkers tried on a wicket which was actually supporting slow balls.
Okay.
Can I just pick up on that? The other, that's a really good point. The other thing around, when you've got a surface like that, you need to use the surface and take away the sort of normal logic of death bowling, which is Yorker bowling. If anything, from a batting perspective, particularly when you're in, like Suryakumar Yadav was in, what you're wanting is people to bowl pace on and trying to hit the block hole. And we all know how hard it is to hit that block hole. So you're quite right. Into the pitch, slower balls would have been a better option.
All the boundaries came when they didn't go into the pitch.
Yeah, more
or less.
And both Chamira and Mukesh were bowling slower balls in the middle overs, weren't they? So they just went. Is that again just because they went back to death logic? That okay, now it's the death over, so we have to bowl in the block hole? Because it seemed like they were bowling slower balls in the middle overs.
So sometimes in the death, it's also how you construct your over. They started with a Yorker, which didn't work out. Next ball, the batsman knows, okay, on this wicket, they're going to bowl a slower. And obviously, Sky is one of the most experienced, brilliant T20 batsmen. So he was obviously 1 step ahead of the game. And every over they did that, bowled a Yorker, didn't execute the Yorker, went for 6, next ball slower, 6 or 4. And then once you do that, you just play into the batsman's hand, and then he just takes it away.
Yeah. What happened before that, though? What explains the state of the surface from the evidence of the middle overs?
Spin. I think Viparaj and Kuldeep bowled very, very well between them. They bowled both completed their 4 overs. Total, they went for 47 runs for both of them. So it's 8 overs of spin for 47 runs for 1 wicket. Yeah, I think it tells you a lot about the surface. And as we've talked about with the pace bowlers, when they took the pace off and bowled cutters, and they have to, you know, there's a difference between a slower ball and a slower ball. Like Fizz has got a proper slower ball. You know, Bumrah's got a proper slower ball. And I'm saying, you know, everyone's got a slower ball, but there's some that are significantly better than others, particularly how they respond on a surface like this.
So it's not the easiest Wankhede batting surface?
Not at all. I mean, Surya has made it look easy, the way he's batted. It's not at all easy. I think that's hands down the best IPL innings this year for me, because considering the conditions and the state of the game, to take it away like that, brilliant.
And let's add the stakes over here, but let's talk Suryakumar Yadav.
Yeah, I've just got one stat that's coming through from Hawkeye, which is the MI batters today versus slower balls. All the other batters combined were going at 136 against slower balls. 3 wickets fell to slower balls. And at least according to this stat, it says Sky was batting at 270 against slower balls, which even I'm finding it hard to believe that stat. I'm actually messaging them saying, is that right? But I mean, even if that stat's not completely accurate, he, I think, was definitely handling it better than everybody else.
Even if he's striking at 170, you'd think that's amazing. But 270, okay, what are we seeing? What are we witnessing here of Suryakumar Yadav? Not just today's innings, but the volume of runs, the consistency. He's in the orange cap race. I think he's 600 and more to come.
Oh, he's an extraordinary player. We have this conversation every year, don't we? You know, when he turns it on, he's an absolute delight to watch. You know, there's very few players that you'd prefer to watch than him at full flight. And he's got such a complete game. And it's not just on flat surfaces that he's shown tonight. He's got the ability to adapt his game according to, you know, conditions, surfaces, and he's a bowler's nightmare. You know, you're a fast bowler, 100%. You know, like when he's going.
True, you just have to be 1 step ahead of him. You can't play into his hands. The moment you play into his hands, you're going to go for that 25-run plus over.
Yeah, I was having this argument with a colleague earlier this season where he was saying that maybe because of the way last season went, T20 has become now about the power hitters down the ground, and maybe Sky's game is not as useful as it was, but I think what this season has shown is that if there's even a little in the surface, you need the 360 game. You need the shots behind the wicket to shot third, finding the gaps, and I mean, to watch again, he's just amazing because he's got it all.
What, another argument?
I was just going to say the amount of arguments he has with his colleagues.
This one I would have, but this one you would have been on my side.
I surely, come on, your friends, because you'll argue so much all the time.
There is a thing about Surya though, about his 4 hitting ability, which is an understated one, where has in common with the Shubman Gills and Sai Sudarshans, and we are seeing a number 4 batter compete with top order batters for the orange cap race. What's there to learn about how Surya constructs his aggressive shots, perhaps?
Look, I just think he's got so much control over the bowler and the field that he just dictates terms. And it's nearly like his bat's round. So if he chooses to, hit the ball square on the offside or square on the leg side, he doesn't have to make a huge difference to what he's actually doing at the crease. And I 100% agree with Dustin, is that, those touch shots, like he played one very late in the innings there. It was a very good Yorker, right up in the block hole, wide of off stump, game plan, executed, 4. What can you do? It was just such a lovely touch that went past first and second slip. He does the same with this little scoop. It just makes it so difficult for a captain to set a field and a bowler to bowl to that field because he's got the game to be able to, as you're saying, hit 4s, hit holes in the ground at will.
What can you do though? I think only 2 instances come to mind this season, even though he's now got the world record, leveled the world record for the most 25 plus scores, 13 and counting, level with Temba Bavuma. And for all money, he could get one more. RCB kept him quiet by Suyash Sharma bowling wide outside off stump. I think LSG, they had Avesh bowling into the wicket and they eventually got him caught in the deep. Was there anything that could have been done to stop Surya today?
See, it's funny you mentioned both those instances. In both those instances, they actually stuck to their plans. Surya is one of those batsmen, he wants you to play into his hands and change your plans because your plan B is his plan A. So he will try something really out of the box to battle your plan A, throw you off your plan, and the moment you go plan B, he's all over you.
I can tell you Suryakumar Yadav is saying he's actually really proud of this innings, speaking at the end of that Mumbai Indians batting innings. It was one innings I was hoping for a long time. Difficult situation, bat through to the end. And he thinks maybe this score is a little bit above par. Slightly slow wicket with the weather around. We wanted to take it deep. Talked about that during the practice sessions. Planned for it and batted accordingly. Waiting gives you a lot of fruits in life. Late blooming philosopher, Surya. But felt good inside while batting. He says, I don't know what the due situation is, but I thought it was a 160, 165 wicket. Let's see, good game on our hands. Any reactions to that? Do you sense he's...
Well, what he's basically saying is they've executed their game plan. And even though you look at Tilak Verma's innings, 27 off 27 balls, you could be critical of that because, it's just run a ball, but it's pretty much echoing what they've talked about in their practice sessions and in their team meetings. Okay, we know that it might be challenging early on. Let's consolidate the middle because we know we can push to the end. So, tick.
And let's not forget Namandhir.
I'm coming to him
He played a really, really good hand to compensate for what Tilak didn't do. And also, I feel it was a blessing in disguise for them not to lose wickets at that point, keep some wickets in hand towards the end, so Namandhir and Surya could go bonkers.
Yeah, I mean, if you can look at that Tilak innings and think, right, what's he doing there? There's still so much batting left in the tank. But then you're suddenly bringing in Pandya, Namandhir with an over of Kuldeep left, with an over of Vipraj left. Yeah. So do you sense that MI have, while the finish might have been above expectation, it was still the right approach to batting first today?
For sure, I think that was the right approach considering the conditions were not favouring them. You needed somebody to consolidate those early wickets and make sure they have wickets at the back end. Exactly what we spoke about in the pre-show. That in Wankhede, if you have wickets at the back end, you can score as many as you want.
But also, I mean, I don't know if they were also just looking to knock it around because the last I saw, I think before the last 2 overs, they had attempted about 50 odd aggressive shots, but only got about 16, 17 boundaries. So they were also struggling to time the ball. Even Sky, if you remember, before those last 2, he slashed at a few and he was just beaten by the lack of pace. So it looked a really tacky wicket. I think maybe then DC also just went away from the bowling plans in the last 2 and they've given those 48 runs, which I mean, I think, does everyone agree MI is now favourites to win, or
No, always favourites to win.
Yeah.
And they're bigger favourites now. I would say.
Just the point around the pace bowlers and changing their pace. There's going to be a significant difference between someone trying to bowl a knuckle ball, for instance, as a change of pace, versus someone that's bowling like a Mustafa Zur or a Bumrah bowling a big cutter. They're the balls that are effective on this surface. If you only have in your armoury, a split finger slower ball or a knuckle ball, a ball that doesn't have revs on it, forget it. That will disappear. It's got to have that sort of real fizz on it.
Last thing, Nattu should have played today. Again, DC's a selection nightmare. Mukesh has gone for plenty. We're not saying it because he's gone for plenty. We spoke about it in the pre-show that Nattu should have played today.
I think Mohit Sharma would have been an interesting bowler today if they would have wanted to make some selection calls on conditions. But Akshar missing out was also big. Faf did all right though. He had wickets in the power play. He seemed to bring on his bowlers. Do you sense Delhi did 18 overs this game almost as well as they could have?
Yeah, I do. At the end of the day, what we saw at the end of the innings there is you've just got to applaud it. That's just exceptional batting. Yes, you can reflect and think, we didn't bowl enough of those cutters into the wicket. Yes, you can reflect and say, the Fizz should have bowled maybe the 19th or the 20th over to at least, try to stem the flow.
Okay.
But, hindsight's wonderful, isn't it?
I want to talk a little more about Namandir, but I'm going to save that for the end of the game. We'll bring it up regardless of result. Chase is about to get underway. Now, what could MI learn from how those first 18 overs went? Is Karan Sharma the likely impact sub? Were you going Ashwini, Kumar
Karan
as an
Sharma,
extra pacer?
without a doubt, you need spin on this surface, and even their fast bowlers are going to make sure they take as much pace as possible.
Yeah,
Take off as much pace as possible.
At what point do we see Bumrah impact this game? Because they used him differently against Gujarat, as we recall. They have 180 runs here, and Deepak Chahar, where his best use is. How do you see MI setting up now to defend this?
Got to get KL Rahul out. Simple as that.
2 centuries at the Wankhede.
If you get KL out, you're ahead of the game, and the person that's most likely to do that's Bumrah.
So you would change it up, not give it to Trent or Deepak Chahar first up?
Bolt definitely. But
Bumrah-
in the first 3 overs, you could nearly have all those 3 bowlers bowling over.
Varun?
Agreed. Give Bumrah a crack with the new ball. 1 over, not more than that, because he's going to control the back end if they get going.
Dustin, anything to add on the chase?
I think Hardik also might enjoy this surface, bowling those into the wicket cutter, so he could become a really important bowler as well.
Okay, this is fascinating. KL Rahul walks out with Faf du Plessis. Delhi's season is on the line. Let's get a prediction. The game as it stands, I must tell you, is 45-55.
Who's 55?
45 in favour, 55 towards Delhi Capitals.
No, but
The algorithm is not taking the pitch.
The forecaster goes by past Wankhede pitches, which this one is not like a usual Wankhede pitch. So
That's why there will always be human intelligence that will be needed to temper artificial intelligence. Human intelligence of Tom Moody. What are you suggesting? What do you say?
HI thinks 161 Delhi, all out.
Okay, HI says 161 Delhi all out. Varun?
Close finish. Mumbai win it in the last over.
Ooh, close game. Dustin,
I'm not going to be silly. I'm just going to say Mumbai to win.
it's about time.
What you're saying, we're silly.
Listen, I made a silly prediction before the first innings. That's about one of the few ones I've got massively wrong.
You've been good. Dustin, don't worry. We just pull your leg, but we know you talk more sense than at least one of us over here. So we'll leave it there. Thank you very much. Tom Moody, Varun Aaron, Dustin Silgardo. Panel goes with MI, where KL Rahul just coming at the back of 100. He now has a target in front of him. This should be fun. Pick up the chat to see if the race to the playoffs is over or if there is twist in it for MI. We'll pick up the chat on Next Up Presents. ESPN Cricket for Time Out. See you then.
Ready for it.
Thrilled for it.
Presenting Franks with Turbo Booster Jet Engine.
Nexa.